Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
Our sources explain it all. For more information on upcoming shows or to suggest shows, email brianhayward2026@gmail.com. And now let's get into our show. Hayward Podworks is vision, deep dives into any topic.
Welcome back to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the sources you send us and, well, we map out the fastest route to true expertise.
And today, our mission is all about personal productivity.
Right. And it's a topic almost everyone thinks they have a handle on. You know, it's about calendar management or getting that perfect to-do list app.
But the sources, they really show it's much bigger than that.
We're going a lot deeper.
That's right. When you actually immerse yourself in this stuff, you see that personal productivity it's way broader than just time management. There's no single formal definition.
Okay.
But if you boil it all down, its main job is simple. Delivering the work you need to do in time and doing it in a professional and efficient way.
So time management is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Exactly.
It's just one tool in the toolbox.
Okay, so what we're really talking about is a whole system. And the sources seem to organize this system into 6, what they call essential pillars.
6 complementary skills. And the key is that you have to develop them all sort of at the same time to really see a difference.
And what are they?
Okay, so they are learning, personal organization, time management, stress, or PRU. You could call it mental control, creativity, and finally, decision making.
Got it. So if any of those foundations are a bit wobbly, I guess the whole structure you're trying to build is going to lean.
Or just fall down completely.
All right, let's unpack this framework, starting with the first one. The foundation of it all. Learning.
The sources call this a universal truth. Learning just never, ever ends.
Right. Whether you're, mastering new software or absorbing the office culture from senior colleagues or just trying to keep up, it's constant.
And this is where the sources highlight a really big danger. They call it the wrong gesture.
The wrong gesture. What's that?
It's that feeling of being contented, satisfied with what you already know.
Oh, okay.
That pause, that feeling of I've made it, that's what makes you vulnerable. If you stop learning, you basically create a vacuum.
And someone else will fill it.
Exactly. A newcomer with fresh skills can just outpace you in your own field.
That's a pretty harsh reality. Does it link to people who are already successful?
It does, absolutely. It links directly to achievement. There's this natural human thing where after a big win, your effort drops. You feel like you've earned a rest.
Sure, that makes sense.
But if your learning stops right then, a decline will follow fast. To really lock in that achievement and set up the next one, the effort has to continue.
So it's about maintenance, not just the big push.
Precisely. And the sources say it has to be a systematic habit, not just random. Maybe 30 minutes a day reading industry news or blocking out time for a certification.
That feels like a perfect transition to the next pillar, which is personal organization. And the sources give us a very tangible sign of your organizational health. It's something you can literally look at right now. Your desk.
Yes, your working desk. A physical mess, they argue, suggests a mental mess. A lack of organization in your whole approach.
It's a signal to yourself and to others that something needs to change.
It depicts how composed and focused you are. But of course, it's about more than just a tidy desk.
So what's the deeper discipline here? How do the sources define it?
They define it as planning your things and making these things to work when they are most needed.
Okay.
But the hard part isn't setting up the system. Anyone can buy folders or download an app. The real challenge is acting on it consistently.
People just fall back into their old habits.
After a few weeks, yes. The new organized routine just fades away.
So to make it stick, what do you need?
You need 2 things. A specific goal You have to know why you're organizing, and a plan, which is how you'll maintain it day to day. Without both, the system is dead on arrival.
Okay, so learning and organization are sort of the external foundations. Now we move inside to the inner game, starting with mental control.
Right, and the core idea here is peace of mind, which you get by living in the moment.
Which really just means setting up some firm boundaries, right? If you're thinking about a work email at 10 o'clock at night,
you're creating what the sources call fuzz and chaos. People who master this have way less stress, and they can find a clear path, even when things get really hectic.
This feels very relevant. Burnout is a huge issue, so how do we actually get this mental separation?
Well, one key technique is building self-confidence. But, and this is important, it has to be based in reality, not just wishful thinking.
What does that mean, based in reality?
It means truly knowing yourself and accepting your faults with an open heart.
Okay.
When you're honest about what you're good at and what you're not, you can take risks that are actually calculated instead of being, paralyzed by a fear of failure.
It's about controlling those negative thoughts.
Yes, and training your mind to focus on just one thing at a time.
That focus is critical, which I think brings us to the next pillar, creativity. The sources make a really interesting point here. They say it can be polished, but you can't really create it from scratch.
Exactly. That's the nuance. It might be there, it might not, but either way, you have to cultivate it to survive and excel. A writer needs a different kind of polish than a filmmaker, but that need for fresh thinking is universal.
Okay, so let's get practical. For someone staring at a blank page or stuck on a business problem, what are the techniques the sources recommend? There were 5, I think?
Yes, 5 very practical ones. First, the classics.
Right.
Mind mapping, brainstorming. Simple but effective.
Okay.
Second, carry a small notebook with you everywhere. The goal is to jot down every single idea.
Yeah.
And you have to accept, they actually give a number, that 82% of it might be just crap.
I love that. 82%. Yeah. It gives you permission to have bad ideas.
It's freeing. You just ignore the volume and you hunt for that brilliant 18%.
Yeah.
Third, if a problem feels impossible, write it down. Actually explain it to yourself on paper.
Articulating it reveals the solution.
Often, yes. Fourth, if your mind is just a total blank, change your atmosphere.
Yeah.
Physically. Get up, go for a walk. They call it a trusted tip.
A physical shift to break the mental logjam.
And number 5, read widely. Don't just read about your own field. Read across different subjects. That fills your mind with the raw material you need to make unexpected connections.
That sets us up for the last part of the inner game, decision making. The sources are really clear that making the right decision at the right time is crucial.
And the right time is always when you have multiple options. Not later when you're hoping for some mythical perfect time to appear.
And once you make the decision,
this is the most important rule. Stick with it, no matter what the immediate consequence is. If you start second guessing, hesitation creeps in, and you can't execute properly.
So once the choice is made, it's all about unwavering commitment.
Absolutely. The only way you get better at making decisions is through experience. And experience means, well, you're going to make some wrong decisions. So the advice is simple. Don't hesitate. Make big and solid decisions.
Okay, now we are moving to the pillar that everyone thinks of first. Time management.
Right, the one that's so often confused for the whole thing. The sources here, they really elevate the definition. They call time management the ultimate management of your life.
The ultimate management.
Yes. When you get it right, it gives you peace of mind. It frees up time you never thought you had. It leads to real satisfaction.
The first core skill they mention is applying the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule.
20% of activities bring 80% of the result. That's the classic line. The sources do say that realistically, you could probably think of it more like 30-70.
But the takeaway is the same.
It's the same. You have to aggressively find and focus on the tasks that give you the biggest results. Do those first.
And this is where we get that truly shocking statistic from the sources.
Oh, yes, the survey.
The survey found that a typical office worker spends over 60 hours in the office a week.
60 hours.
But they do less than 20 hours of actual productive work.
It's startling. And if those 20 hours are generating their current output, just imagine the potential if they actually focused.
Mm-hmm. And so much of that potential is just locked away because of one thing: procrastination.
Which the sources define really well. It's when you focus on the short-term advantage, the immediate gratification over your long-term goal.
Like eating the junk food now instead of thinking about losing weight later.
Exactly. And that habit of working at the last minute, it just leads directly to stress. It's a guarantee. And those inconsistent steps just keep moving the goal further and further away.
So to fix this, we need to get precise. The sources recommend a specific tracking method.
A diary. You break it into sections like leisure, resting, working time, and you note the precise start and stop times for everything.
And this lets you do a critical calculation.
At the end of the day, you calculate the ratio of your unproductive time to your productive time. If that ratio is 4-to-1, non-productive to productive,
you're in a crisis.
You're in a crisis state, yes.
Yeah.
You need immediate action. The goal is to get to at least a ratio of 2-to-2.
What about interruptions? The phone calls, colleagues stopping by your desk, if you can't just avoid them.
The fix is simple. The second you get interrupted, you immediately make a quick task list of what you need to get back to. That little act lets you jump right back in as soon as you're free, so you don't lose your train of thought.
Okay, so this initial monitoring leads us into the final section, which is all about using really deep logging methods to potentially triple your efficiency.
Yes, and the main tool here is the time log. It's basic, but they say it's profoundly powerful.
And there are two ways to do it.
Two methods.
Okay.
The first is the stopwatch method. Very simple. Start the watch when you're doing actual work. Stop it when you pause.
But there's a more effective one.
Much more effective, but also a lot more tiring. It's the detailed diary method.
And that's the one where you make an entry every single time you leave your chair, even for a minute.
To get water, check the news, a quick phone call, everything. And this is where the personal story from the source material really hits home.
What happened?
The author used this detailed method and discovered they were only working 15 hours in a week.
15 hours of real work.
While spending over 40 hours in the office. And that shocking ratio, it just reveals this huge potential for improvement that's hiding in all those useless hours.
The analysis suggests something like 90% of office workers spend 70% of their time on things like adjusting their clothes or organizing their desks.
Useless activities.
Yes, and all that data lets you calculate a very specific number. Your personal efficiency using a formula.
Efficiency ratio, time doing real work. Time spent at work. A simple calculation.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, because the advice for how to improve that ratio is, it's totally counterintuitive.
Right. The obvious answer is work harder or work longer. But that usually just leads to burnout. It fails.
So what's the alternative strategy?
The sources say to do the opposite. Cut your total hours first.
Cut your hours.
Get your total hours at the office to force yourself to be more efficient. So you might drop from 60 total hours to 50, but you consciously keep your 15 hours of real work the same. Your ratio improves instantly.
That's a brilliant move. You're using time restriction to force focus. And what was the final result for the author who tried this?
The payoff was huge. After about 6 to 8 months of doing this, they were spending less than 50 hours at the office.
Okay.
But they were logging more than 35 hours of focused, real work.
Wow. So more than double the original output.
All from tracking, cutting the waste, and monitoring that one specific ratio.
So what does this all mean for you listening? When you integrate all 6 of these pillars, the learning, the organization, the mental control, and then these ruthless time metrics, you get to what the sources call an inspired living standard.
It's a life that's well organized, well structured, and genuinely more fulfilling.
The entire system, really, from your mindset to your final output.
It all comes down to one fundamental thing: using your time effectively and precisely. When you look at those really well-settled, successful people, you have to remember, it didn't happen by accident.
There's an effort of lifetime behind all those achievements.
It's sustained by these very deliberate choices we've been talking about.
So we started this deep dive with the idea that personal productivity is much, much broader than just time management. We talked about 6 diverse skills.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, when we get to the most tactical, results-driven techniques, the ones that promise to triple your efficiency, they all seem to revolve intensely around precise time management, logging, and metrics.
That's true.
Which leaves a really important question for you to think about. Is personal productivity truly a different holistic skill set, or is it simply the effective mental and physical application of time management principles? Think about that one.
Hayward Podworks. 100 shows, one vision.
All right, this is Hayward Podworks, and that's today's episode. If this helped you, do me a favor, hit follow, leave a quick rating, and share it with one person who'd get value. Want the extras, links, and new drops? Check the show notes. Until next time, stay sharp, stay consistent, and keep building. Hayward Podworks. We'll talk soon.